And some know, some don't know, that we are literally, as a people, oppressed people, but in particular, black people are at war. I was at an event, we were at an event in Philadelphia, where Bev Smith of BET fame, she came out, and before, and as she was dealing with her introductory remarks, she said that we as a people would not believe the forces that are against our rise. We would not believe it. And you and I are going to have that unpeeled more today as we hear from our wonderful panelists. So that's one of the main reasons why we're here, because we don't intend to lose in this war, do we?
No, sir.
We to be victorious. Another reason here is because there is a Dayton African American Chamber of Commerce inside the city. And what they gave us in terms of statistics is that out of all of the businesses in Dayton, Ohio, only 2.7% are black-owned businesses. Think about that. 2.7. Now, when you couple that with the amount of support that we give that 2.7, they're saying we have some major opportunities as a people. Another reason why we're here is because another statistic says that there's over 40% of our black youth that are unemployed. 40%. Now, you and I know my grandma, my mama, your grandma, your mama says to us that an idle's mind is what? Whose workshop?
Yeah.
The devil's workshop. So, as educating us that when we see violence, we just can't scratch the surface of violence and say, hey man, put down the gun, y'all stop killing each other. We have to be able to deal with why are the brothers, sisters, whomever for that matter, are picking up the gun. And when we look at a 40% of our black youth that are unemployed, that's a problem. That's an opportunity, and that's another reason why we're here. Who has heard of a non-economic liberalism? Non-economic liberalism. That is organizations established to promote social issues, but to stand down on economics. And unfortunately, most of our organizations, black organizations, are established as non-economic liberalism organizations. Deal with the social issues, but leave that money alone. Why? Our panelists are going to let us know why we are encouraged and instructed in some cases to not get involved in economics, to not support black businesses, to not open up businesses. Our panelists are going to get into that. Everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
Who heard of reparatory justice? Reparatory justice is something that in this information age that we encourage all of you all to look into, because that's one of the greatest, most essential movements of the day. It's talking about reparations. Don't you all think that we deserve reparations?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the reason why we're here is because we have been lulled to sleep. We have not, when we talk about reparations, we have been lulled to sleep to not even want an apology. These individuals that run the world won't even come to grips with what they did to us was wrong. Won't even say we're sorry. And then have some contrition in the apology. You know, to mean it.
Right.
So that's why we're here, because see, you know, we're being taught all across the country that your revolutionary spirit needs to be toned down. We're in a post-racial society, is that right?
Yes, sir.
We got a black president, and we're grateful and thankful to have a black president. Is that right?
Yes,
I think President Obama Donald Farrakhan teaches us that if there's one thing that President Obama has done for us as a people, is he has showed black children that we can be more than just basketball players and entertainers, right? And we can be more than just comedians. So let's give President Obama and his beautiful family a round of applause. We applaud them. We applaud them for that excellent example. However, we can't be disillusioned to think that because we have a black president that everything is okay. Because if the truth be told, when you look at the masses, things are actually worse. Talking about the masses. The masses are not Jay-Z and Beyonce. Okay? That's not the masses. We're proud of our sister and our brother. We're proud of Lil Wayne and Nicki and all of, you know, the great amount of money that they attain. They deserve that. They work hard. However, you and I can't be disillusioned by that. Why are we here? We're here because of Donald Sterling.
That's right. That's right.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
That's what we're here. Donald Sterling, who just straight up, I got to do a little public service. The joker with my sons, and I'm a sweater. Right. Can you hold your title, Buzz? We're in a competition. Sean Walton should be here. He's in the competition as well, and we sweat. I sweat so much to the land. When I was doing my notes, I was sweating. Y'all didn't hear me. I was writing down things. So don't be at all taken aback by the brother sweating competition, and I intend to win. Okay? We're here because of Donald Sterling. His blatant disrespect.
Right. That's right.
And what do? What does the NBA do, which is comprised of probably 80% or more of us? Silent protest, say a few words, and get right back to bouncing that ball.
Right.
Those are some of the reasons why we're here. I was with my brother, my friend Marlon Aldrich, our great president of the Black Man's Think Tank, when we're talking about why we're here. And he mentioned to me that he was invited to an event, and at this event, when he introduced himself, he said, I'm the president of this think tank. And the Caucasian man, listen, when he introduced himself as the president of the Black Man's Think Tank, and correct me if I'm wrong, Marlon, he said, oh, I didn't know you all think. I didn't know that you all, what did he say again, brother? I didn't know black people think.
Wow.
Then let's rewind that again and let's say that real slow, Marlon, so our listening audience and all of us can hear what this Caucasian man said.
He says that black people think.
And then, really, the kicker, if you will, is he had the nerve to say it and didn't feel no remorse. So when we look at Donald Sterling and this Caucasian man that our brother, you know, encountered, and certain situations and stories that we'll be hearing from you all momentarily, you know, what are we going to do? Do you all know this is a formula that we want to introduce, and it's called respect gets respect. When we begin to respect ourselves more, then that in and of itself will get respect.
Right.
Just something to think about. Everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
Now, two more things. I would be remiss in my duty, and really we would be remiss in our duty without thanking the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Because this man, my God, you know, what a man is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If it was not for his reintroducing Muhammad's economic blueprint, we would not even have the thought to reach out to the Black Man's Think Tank, Black Collective Empowerment, Black Dayton Wall Street, and to extend an invitation to you all, if it was not for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So let's give the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan a round of applause. All praise the Lord. All praise the Lord. This man is working tirelessly to bring life to the dead, and he is literally dying to give us life, dying to give us life. So we're thankful for the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. We're thankful for his stand because he speaks for the voiceless. He speaks for the hopeless. He speaks for those of us that are afraid. Huh? Yeah, Honorable Farrakhan, he is absolutely so incredible. He speaks for the ignorant. He is absolutely an incredible man, and all of us should remain acquainted with him. And if you're not acquainted with him, how many of us, if Malcolm X was here, would be with Malcolm? Can I see your hands? What about Dr. King? What about Moses? What about Jesus?
Right.
What you and I need to do with Minister Farrakhan.
Right.
I didn't stutter.
Right.
Because he is doing the work of those men and then some with the help of Allah God. Everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
All praise belongs to Allah. Before we introduce our moderator, one thing that we want to do, and we pray to Allah that this can absolutely be, the glue that that holds together. Because at the end of the day, we have to bring God to the witness stand. We have to ask ourselves the question, does God see what's happening in the world? Does he see what's happening in particular to us as a people? And God about it. Isn't that a good question?
Yes, sir.
Well, when we go inside the scripture, one part of the scripture, God lets us know what his thinking is and happening in the world. We're reading from the book of Genesis, the 15th chapter, and we're going to go with the 13th and 14th verses. Everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years.
Right, right, right.
Now I got to stop. This is not a Farrakhan Bible.
Right.
Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is not a movie. This is the King James Version. So we didn't put that in there.
Right.
It's in there. Now, who do you know of that has served someone and has been afflicted a people for 400 years other than you and I?
Right. That's right.
Come on, talk to me.
That's right.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, God is saying, okay, I'm going to allow this to happen, however, and also that nation whom they shall serve.
Mm-hmm.
Will I judge? And afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
So we're out on our peace mission. Honorable Farrakhan has the FOI all across the country, out on a peace mission, where we're going into not the best parts of our cities. We want to go to those pockets in our city where there's opportunities, not to talk down to our people, because we're a great people, and we are a potentially beautiful people. However, we will do better when we what? When we know better.
Right. Right.
And when we go to our people and talk to our people, they respect that. And then what we hear is that a lot of us are losing hope.
Mm-hmm.
We giving up. So when you ask a brother, sister, brother, what do you think we can do to create more peace? Ain't nothing gonna happen, bro. What do you think, sister, we can do to create more peace? I'm just gonna stay inside my house. And then you know that that's not the way to live.
Right.
That you work and then come inside your house and close the door, lock the door. What type of living is that?
Mm. Right.
However, what are we going to do? And we're here today to be given some practical solutions.
Yes.
Did y'all hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
Practical solutions on what to do, not just an emotional feel-good meeting where we're, getting all riled up. Huh? I mean, that's good. We definitely want your tone scale and you to be excited. But at the end of the day, we want to produce and let you all know and actually want to join on to a revolution.
Right.
To be a part of a revolution is what we're encouraging us to be about, and that's not a bad word. That I don't want nobody to get, offended, because a revolution, we're talking about a change.
Right.
And then the scripture talks about a new heaven.
Yes, sir.
And a new earth. Right?
Yes, sir.
So that's what we're here to talk about today. Thank you all so much for coming. At this time, I have the distinct honor to introduce my brother, my friend. This brother, he is absolutely incredible. And when we were looking for a moderator to moderate this great panel and this great discussion, we were so happy that he said yes. This brother, he keeps us informed in the city of Dayton and all across the country with his Knowledge for Life business. Without anything further, let's bring our brother on with a round of applause, the one and only brother Steve Muhammad, President and CEO of Knowledge for Life.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I would like to greet all of you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. We say that in the foreign language, the English language, peace be unto you. I first want to thank the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. I want to thank his local representative, Brother Tyrone. Let's give our brother a round of applause. Hard-working man on behalf of Black people. I want to thank the Dixie Community Center. This is our community center. We have our brother Harrison here, and we have the Wesley Community Center. That's right. And we need to support these centers with our participation and our programs. Bring them to our centers, and let's build them up. This forum is called a blueprint, an economic blueprint for our survival. Now, a blueprint, of course, if you know anything about a blueprint, it lays the foundation in which to build on. For our survival, we know that we're in trouble as a people. And so we're happy to have some of our local representatives, and we also have on the line from Alabama, well, I'll let everyone introduce themselves. So without further delay, we're going to go ahead and get on into allowing everyone to say a brief bio of themselves, and then we're going to get right on into the questions. So let me see. Dr. Risley, are you? Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. You sound excellent. I was going to start sweating there for a second. Okay. Dr. Risley, can you briefly, we'll start with you first. Can you briefly give a brief bio of yourself for the audience?
Okay. Number one, I'm the Village of Air Force Farm Manager from the farm. FOI, the Nation of Farm is 1871. I've been sold in and out of the country. A lot of colleges, corporate, LR, town hall, paper.
Your volume is sounding a little distorted. Yes, sir.
So the top floor, okay, is better?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Well, I don't just say my so we don't want to talk too much.
Okay. Go right. Okay. All right then. And so we'll come right on back to yourself. So we'll just go on down the line. And Brother Brett, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and the organization that you're with?
I'm Brother Brett. I represent an organization called Black Wall Street International. Black Wall Street is about cooperative economics. It's about uniting and joining on other black organizations, whether they be profit or non-profit, and putting our resources together to use that money and resources to fund black business. The aim of Black Wall Street is to fund 73 businesses each and every month. We're going to do a platform called Spiral Funding, and I'll get a little bit more into that. My background, I've been in operations and operations office for this project, and I'm also an operations officer for a project I'll talk about called Black Box Farm Caddy, which is a venture into the black hair care beauty supply industry. So that's what I'm here representing. That's my people. Hello, I'm Marlon Aldridge. I'm the president, CEO of the Black Man's Think Tank. Graduated from Patterson High School here, in the Navy, spent 2 years in the Navy, attended Morehouse College where I graduated with a degree in physics, on ROTC scholarship. Also, because of that, and to serve some time in the United States Marine Corps. I was an officer there, spent 5 years there, came out, spent some time in the private sector, various business ventures, still today, I own my own business, Ohio AdNet, LLC. Also teach physics at St. Clair Community College. I've been there 16 years. Formed the Black Man's Think Tank in 2008. The primary mission is to develop and support industry between black organizations and professionals. So this is an opportune moment for me to talk about some of the things that we can do to develop industry, because as most of you know, without industry, you don't have that living wage we've all come accustomed to take care of ourselves and our family. We don't have that health care insurance that many of us are familiar with because of our jobs. Some of us are even able to go to school because of tuition assistance and educational benefits that we get via industry. So industry is very important to our livelihood. So hopefully we're going to get into some of that discussion today. What part can we play and what we must do in order to participate in it even more and to develop ourselves and our family.
Good evening, family. Again, my name is Lynn Brinson. I'm also a veteran of U.S. Army. I'm currently a therapist at the Dayton VA Medical Center. I facilitate treatment for individuals who suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder and substance abuse. I earned my bachelor's degree from Central State University in psychology. I earned my master's degree in rehabilitation counseling, specializing in substance abuse from Wright State. I specialize in other alternatives to treatment, non-medications, treatments that an individual can facilitate themselves, because I don't believe in people staying in counseling and therapy for the rest of their lives. In my opinion, it's about independence and people learning to use tools that they can take home with them and facilitate. Also, I recently opened private practice for myself. My desire is to transition out of the VA Medical Center and work independently. And I'm a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 1. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. We want to start off with a historical perspective, because a lot of us may not know how do we get into this condition that we are in right now. And believe it or not, we were not always in this condition dependent on other people. So I would like for Dr. Ridgely, if you could give us a historical perspective. Some of us know about Black Wall Street, but we don't know what happened to these black ships after slavery that were so prosperous. Can you give us a history of that, Dr. Ridgely?
I would say we had skills. We were diligent. We were farmers. Let it go back.
Hold on, Dr. Ridgely. It's breaking up again. When we, I don't know if you had, because when we tested it out, it sounded good, but now it's sounding like it did when we first started. Yes, sir.
We got to do
Okay. I think we're going to have to try to reconnect or something. We're getting bad audio. Let's see here. Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, because this is breaking up. So Let me go ahead and call you, and we'll do it that way. I'll call you right back.
Okay, let me give me a phone.
Okay, yes, sir. You can call me at 937-204-4497.
Okay, I'll call you.
Yes, sir, and I'm gonna get my phone ready. All right. Just 1 second. Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this. Stop.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna have to go ahead and get a speaker or something because it's kind of low. Let me go to the next guest, and we'll come right back to you. All right. Brother Brent. Yes, sir. Brother Brent, can you, because your organization is called Black Wall Street, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Can you give us, because I know then that you probably have that historical perspective, and can you help us to understand just what occurred in Black Wall Street and throughout these townships in in the southern part of America?
Absolutely. There's a couple different elements to Black Wall Street. History actually goes back quite a way. It goes back to the 1500s. There was a ship that came to Africa in 1526. And on this ship, there were Black people, some who were coming to do business. Of course, the Europeans brought the ship and were the primary owners of the ship. There were also Black people who were slaves on the ship. The ship landed in South Carolina, and shortly after making a settlement in that area, Black people from the United Colonial at that time, with the slave masters, and they revolted and they began to migrate toward southern parts of the country. Down in Florida, these Black people became what are known as Seminole Indians. They were originally Black. Seminole Indians fought a war with the United States government for 50 years, and for most of that time period, they won. So they had to send a large army down there to finally beat them, but they fought. A Black general or a Black chief fought in the government during that time period. So it was after that time period of the Seminole Wars, the 3 Seminole Wars, U.S. history that we lost. So you had Black people in this Indian area. You also had people who were indigenous, we call indigenous Indians, who were in that area, and that mixture of people kind of made up the Seminoles. So during this time when we hear this march, the Trail of Tears, and all that was happening with the Indians, 37% of people who were in that march were completely full Black people. They had migrated south. One of the misconceptions about the Underground Railroad is that it was always flowing north. Black people were not stupid. They were not always trying to run from Mississippi all the way to Canada. You know, Florida is Mississippi, Canada. We're talking about a couple thousand miles. So they knew that there was freer land down in Florida where they did not yet have those laws. There were Black people down there who had strength or military order. So the original and first Underground Railroad actually flowed south down in Florida. So you had a conglomeration of many different mixtures of people, Black people, during the time of the Trail of Tears that was the Oklahoma area. So those people were the first settlers, or who originally became people who came to get on the Black Wall Street, also Oklahoma, from that lineage. And they built that area up the late 1800s to 1900s to, of course, the incident that happened in, I believe it was 1921 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Greenwood, where allegedly a young Black man was on the elevator with a white woman, and somehow she comes off screen saying that he provoked her. And what it was at that time, Black Wall Street being so rich from the business aspect, the dollar cycled at least 13 times in Black Wall Street. You have Black millionaires, Black Wall Street. Some of these Black millionaires own airplanes that they had runways in the 1920s. mansions out there, $1 million homes. This is at a time where, you know, World War I is just ending. And you got a lot of Caucasian males who are coming home from the war, and you know they're looking at us over here in what they used to call Little Africa, was the name of that area. And you know, just make it plain, you know, they were kind of jealous that they didn't do that, had that right. So this is what happened at Black Wall Street, was something that took place for a period of time. There was well planned action that took place. And from this incident, this boy, he was jailed. A number of the black men in the city came to his aid. They were also black veterans who they grouped together. They met at one of the town buildings, and they won the boys back. They came armed with guns. Some of the white authorities also came out and asked them what he was going to do with the gun. There was a standoff. It didn't go down right then. Later on that night, next thing you know, they got airplanes, they got machine guns, all kinds of military equipment that came back to World War I.
Yes.
All right, we got you in here, Doctor.
Okay.
You sounding a lot better than you did.
Well, good. We tried this campaign before, and we had the same problem. We wound up having to do it by phone. I don't know why it doesn't work well when it's actually time for the show.
Right.
And preparations is good, but sometimes it messes up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we are going to go ahead and with Brother Brett, if you could go ahead and go into some more of that, finish your part, and then we'll.
Okay. So at the night when it first happened, in the rally, get the plan together, get the town together, they advanced together the military forces against the black people was also Oklahoma. And they began firing machine gun fire down from several hills. And this was pretty much a massacre that went on all day. Something that's well swept under the rug in American history. Numbers of over 3,000 black people that were murdered that night in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The last descendant, from what I heard, died about 3 years ago. Tulsa, 3 to 4 years ago, was near 100 years old. There's a lot of history on Black Wall Street and what happened in that area. But it is a perfect model for what they achieved at that time for us to be able to do today. They were able to do it under those obstacles at that time. And certainly us being a much more educated people by and large in terms of numbers can reproduce such things again.
Thank you, Brian. And Dr. Risley, and we want everyone's, we know we had some issues in the beginning, but if you can, so we can get as much in as possible, keep your comments and make them as succinct as possible, down to 2 or 3 minutes, and then be able to get as much as possible. Dr. Ridgely, we're happy that you're able to join us. Our brother B explained some of Black Wall Street, and can you go ahead and explain, can you go and go a little further on and explain what happened after Black Wall Street, why we had to migrate to the north, and why integration and what integration has done?
Okay. Now, one of the reasons why we migrated to Oklahoma was that we were, catching the hell. They were burning us out of our different little towns we were having throughout the South. They were lynching us at a rate of 1 black person every 3 days, and it was a sport. They had pictures, people taking pictures of an ear of a black man, and people smiling in the newspaper. You've seen it in the different pictures. So that day, the black folks who were in Tulsa could not go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they had a piece of paper stating what white person they worked for. So no end black people could come back to Tulsa, Oklahoma once they were run out. We were run up north. The NAACP, the National Association of Advancement of Colored People, that was set up by the Jews. It was Jews, all the colored people. They offered a better place for us up north. Their cousins down south were financing the KKK, while they supposedly were opening doors up for the north for us to come. So they shuffled us, ran us off of our land, that we had worked for. We had by 1910, we had 16 million acres of land. 1900, we had 10 million acres. And 6 years later, we had 16 million acres. Our population was up to 10 million. They saw a threat. They saw the black man and woman were rising out of the ashes. So they offered opportunities elsewhere. Ran us out the south of north, and then they put us in what's called ghettos. You know, went out in segregated type of situations up north. But even in the ghettos, in the segregated situations, we began to do business. We came up with industry like Motown, where we were making millionaires from our music. I know in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we had the same bus company, all-black bus company. So in our segregated situations, we set up business again. As Elijah Muhammad said, that we should do for self and work for self, do not fall for the last trick of the slave master, which is integration. Integration is a sin. Do not fall for integration. So in the 1960s, black people had a vote, basically, and they voted to go with integration. They were led there by the Jews to go with integration route. They accepted that, and now we lost everything that we had. We lost our schools, lost our principles, we lost our principles, meaning that we lost our morals. Because what they did, I did a study in 1974 when they had forced integration in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, while I was in college. I did the study, and when they were forced to integrate with us, the middle-class white parents set up schools in their churches to pull their children out of public schools. The very rich, the upper class, the very rich white parents already had their children in private schools. So by the time we integrated with the white people, who we integrated with were the third-class white people, the trailer park tramps. And so we took on the morals and mores and behavior of the trailer park tramps. So integration not only took away from us our schools, our businesses, because integration was only one way. We could go and sit in white folks' stores or businesses and eat some hamburger, but the white people will not come into our businesses. And so we just lost business to the white folks, and we lost our morals to the white folks, and we lost our mind to the white folks. And now we're losing our behind to the white folks, because now we're eating out of the devil's kitchen, and they're poisoning us every day. We're blowing up like a poison animal. On the farm, we know that it's poison animal because it blows up like a balloon, and the buzzard won't touch it. So we're blowing up like a balloon because it's slowly poisoning us through the food. They run us off the land in the cities, and now they're feeding us rat poison.
All right, thank you and that is a good historical context. Sister Lynn, I something towards the psychology or mentality, but I'll let you go ahead and you had something that you want to say.
Okay, my take on our economic downfall, I agree with Brother Brett, what he was saying. It comes from our psychological conditioning as to how we were taught to separate from each other. And my view about this, let me just first start by saying I appreciate that every time I come to this building or most buildings, it starts with prayer. And I think that's something we need to continue to facilitate into our homes and facilitate outward. First, second of all, we need to treat our economic situation like family. As you noticed when I greeted you all, I said, good evening, family. Because when I look out in the audience, I see me. And we need to have that mentality of who we see when we're talking about these young men, and we're talking about people in the Bass, we're talking about black folks that live in Centerville, and we're talking about Beyonce and whoever else we see on TV. Those people are us.
Right.
So we need to have that we and us mentality when we're talking about money. If Mr. Tay's store closes, that's a hit on me.
That's right.
If Mr. Tay's store is in my neighborhood and I go and buy bread there, I don't have to travel in my community to get bread. And who am I going to buy bread from? I'm going to buy bread from someone who is not like me, which is going to take away from my community.
Right.
So my view on this whole economic issue is that we bring it back in-house. I'm a therapist, so I'm talking about the healing of our community. It starts with me. It starts with how I talk about black people. It starts with how I talk about black business. Most of my life, and I'm turning 50, thank you very much. I'm turning 50, and most of my life, I heard people talk about what black folks don't do. I'm sick of hearing that about what we don't do, what we can't do, and what we ain't gonna do. And first of all, I understand there's power in my language.
Right.
There's power in my words. If I'm talking about my black people, I need to be talking positively. I need to be talking about what they can do because I see what they can do. I know what they can do because I talk to people. They work. They build families. They run businesses. So it's really about how we focus on black people and what we want to facilitate. And just like events like this. Again, thank you for showing up because you're not showing up for us, you're showing up for you.
That's right.
And in my opinion, you're showing up for your ancestors who died for you.
That's right.
And you're showing up for your kids and grandkids and great-grands.
That's right.
So actually, this is bigger than us.
Right.
So we have to constantly have that mentality, this is bigger than me.
Beautiful. Thank you. And that's beautiful because it does start with the mind.
Right.
This question is for Brother Marlon. We're looking at a future economy that is becoming more technological, more robotic based. This combined with cheap foreign and domestic labor, replacing the need for American labor, particularly black labor. What are some areas that blacks should start looking into for a secure financial future? Because, right now, robotics and all that have just totally taken our place, and it's very difficult to find even a factory job now.
Well, you're talking about technology. And so if you're talking about looking for careers, of course, if technology is where it's at, of course you want to look for careers in technology. Computer engineering would be an example. Anything that has to do with networking, even building websites. You have to use some type of code. Of course, those are all the professions that you may want to look at. So of course, that's going to provide. You're going to have skills to be able to do it. But before even the skills, one of the things that I think that we're missing in our community are correct values and attitudes. That's where it all starts. Our behaviors are pretty much dictated by the values that we have. Now, I've been making some observations here and trying to gather some things up. And one of the things that I heard Dr. Richmond say was that put us in ghettos. So I'm looking at control. There have been times in our history where we have been controlled. So if that has been a negative for us, then it must be important that we not be able to be controlled. So we have to equalize the power that others have against us, either reduce it or eliminate the powers that others have. But before we do that, we have to look at our values. Another observation I make, and that I see a lot, and we pray a lot. We pray a lot, but I don't see anything changing with the prayer. Right? So we even have to look at that if we're praying to God and things are not changing, then something's amiss with that. And I think it has to do with our values. And our values, for the most part, dictated to us by our parents. We were talking about our ancestors, right? We talked about Black Wall Street. I heard some other things here. It said we made. There were some places we went up north. We went up to, was it Detroit, where Motown started at? So there have been opportunities in our history where we were very creative and we were able to do things for self. But we must not romanticize about those time periods. We must be honest. We must have be very critical in our thought. If Black Wall Street was that successful, and we probably had Black Wall Streets in different areas of the community, was Black Wall to employ our people during those times at the level at which advanced countries are able to have a high standard of living. And I don't think any of us would disagree that they were not. So, and I appreciate it, but Black Wall Street wasn't all of that. Because Black Wall Street, if it was all of that, would have been able to take that model of Black Wall Street and put it in every city in the country and have other Black Wall Streets interconnected in such a way that we could employ our people so that we would have never had to spend most of our time marching and sitting in restaurants and other public places to be able to integrate into someone else's economy.
Let me let Dr. Rizzi, would you like to chime in on that?
Yes, I would. Now, Oklahoma Tulsa was not the only place where we were doing that. We were doing it in Wilmington, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, and a lot of different places. Now, at the time that we did have the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, you had Black people who had airplanes. You had Black people who had nice cars. So in terms of the standard of living compared to other people at that time around the world, we were doing quite well. The model of Wall Street other people is the model that is called terrorism.
Right.
Okay? They terrorized us. They continue to terrorize us. Why don't the Black NBA players have their own team? Why don't they have organizations? Because we know right now it's illegal for two Black men to have the same tattoo and stand on the corner. They call it game. They call it nuisance. So we are, like what the brother brought up about Bear Smith, you have to realize that we are a people at war who refuse to accept that we are at war and therefore refuse to act like a people at war. I like the brothers talking about control. So you got to have control. That's called discipline, self-discipline. If we have businesses, then we should stick to our businesses. People who come over here from other parts of the country, of the world, the Vietnamese, they'll go to other states and patronize other Vietnamese. But over here, if we patronize one another, it's called reverse racism. Okay? Donald Elijah Muhammad is called a racist. The Farrakhan is called a racist. Now, your boy Sterling talks about how the Jews have a company and that money is distributed from International Association of Jewish Free Loans. Well, they give loans without interest to each other, and yet the Jews charge interest to everybody else in the world. But amongst each other, they don't charge interest, and this is that's Islamic banking. So when we come talking about Islam, that we look like some type of terrorist, and the Jews practice Islam amongst themselves while they hoodwink the rest of the world. So we're in our condition not because we're stupid, not because we're lazy. We're in our condition because we are at war. And as a people, we have refused to accept that we're at war and to fight back like we have an open enemy, which we do.
And I want to open up. I have two more questions, and then we're going to open up to the audience, and I'm just sit back. For you, Brother Brett, this is amazing. Blacks have a current buying power of $1 trillion that is forecast to reach $1.3 trillion by year 2017. But most of the spending leaves the Black community, making the Koreans, the Arabs, and the Jews rich. What are some of the obstacles, and how can we begin to keep money in our community? That trillion of dollars.
One of the things that happens in these communities is that they recycle the dollar. The recycling of the black dollar right now is not a good position at all. At the top of the food chain, when it comes to dollars, you have your Asian community, you have your Jewish community as well. They recycle their dollars maybe 16 to 18 times in their community. That means that money is about in the black community right now, the dollar recycles 0 times. And that is one of the great tragedies that we have right now, and why we can't seem to get the upliftment that we need in our neighborhoods. If you look around the country, you have places like Little Havana, you have Greektown, you have Little Italy, you have Chinatown, you have your Vietnamese town, you have your Arab town, but we don't have an African town, we don't have a black town or anything like that.
Now, do you think that's because of integration?
Yes, integration is partly responsible for it, but then at the same time, I think that we have to analyze where we are at 2014 and really make the right decisions. We could have had an African town in Detroit when Kwame Kilpatrick was in office. There was money allocated for that project. It was going forward. Some black people who came from somewhere within that particular council opposed Kwame. Same old things. What happened? And Little Africa was pushed back. Detroit is 5% black. If a city is that black, and
right,
you have that many black people in the government, that many black people in the economy, it makes some sense that we don't have our own financial business districts in that city.
That's right.
And because of the lack of business districts, not only in Detroit, but all over America, black people are populated by and large. 75% of black people are in 10 cities in America. You can pretty much guess those cities are. You're going to get Chicago, you got Detroit, you got LA, New York, Phoenix, and so on. So we're very concentrated people right now. But with all that concentrated geographic location that we have right now, we're not taking advantage of it. We're not building those financial systems up right now.
And let me ask, well, one last question, then if you can comment, Brother Marlon. Brother breaks to something, and we're talking about Dr. Ridgely that we're at war. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan teaches that there were 3 sciences that blacks were to be taught. Can you go into those sciences, Dr. Ridgely, and what do you suggest as far as us beginning to learn these sciences and teach these sciences to our children?
Well, the science business, the science, and the science fair. Economic liberalism is a direct attack against business, sense of business, and integrating and marrying white people is definitely not smart in terms of family planning for people. And warfare. First of all, you have to accept that you are at war, and then you have to devise a plan to deal with the type of attack that you are under. But we have pushed into a state of denial. Anybody who comes forth and say, listen, we need to act like people are attacking us, you'll have someone else who is paid to come in there. That's what they say. How do you have that all black, 75%, 80% black? Because they're paid to come in and cause trouble. Okay? Mr. Farrakhan said that the enemy comes to us, he gives us an offer and a threat. So you get some people who take the offer and sell out, and the others who don't sell out, they wind up with their legs broke. So black people, through a continual process of terrorism, have been domesticated like I would a dog, to where they know exactly what to do and what not to do. This is why the Muhammad economic blueprint is divine. It's divine because why would someone have to come and say, here's the first thing in economic blueprint, recognize the necessity for unity and group operation. Why should anybody have to come to a human being and say, you need to understand, recognize the necessity for unity and group operation, unless a devil black people. Because naturally, that's something you would do naturally. You had to come between that which was the nature of the human being to make it other than himself, such that God had to come to tell him, love yourself, respect yourself, unity and reparation is important. Okay? So just if you look at the Muhammad economic blueprint, you'll see pool your resources, physically as well as financially. Stop random criticism of everything that is black owned and operated. Why would anybody have to tell us that? Except we have been underneath the control of an enemy to self. And those of us who are scared of the enemy act like the enemy don't exist. I'm out here in the woods, 1,600 acres down here in Georgia. All right? I wear my black Muhammad t-shirts. You understand? Muhammad farms. Crackers respect you when you follow Farrakhan and you respect yourself. Okay? But when you are scared, then they treat you like a dog when you're scared. But when you stand up like a man, they have respect for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. And so let's go ahead and, Brother Marlon, you go ahead and anyone who's ready to ask their question.
I wanted to speak on this issue of black spending power. How many of you have a cell phone with internet access? This is an exercise. I want you to go out and look up white spending power. Look up Asian spending power. I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get LOL. Laugh out loud. Put in black spending power. Anybody understand where I'm going with this? Yeah. They're going to laugh at you. Black spending power. That's an exercise. Don't take my word for it. Go out there and look it up. You won't find anything. They measure their power by wealth, not by how much money they can spend, right? That is a Negro con game to get money from white folks, right? I heard other things. We are pushed. And this control comes again. Our values are dictated to us by other people, right? And so we pray a lot and get nothing in return. I'm not against prayer. I'm a praying man too. But I'm also about values and I'm also about action, right? And this is where I see us failing, is that we're controlled. We have to some way, and the way I see it are the coalition of the willing, those that are best able to counter this control that people have against us. That's the only way that we can succeed. And one of the things that we also have to do is that we have to make sure that we are a very critical people. And what I mean by that is that if there's knowledge out there to be gained, we must assess that knowledge, we must study it, we must critique it as well. That's right. And we must do it in this vein right here. We must ask ourselves, how does this knowledge empower or disempower me? Right? If you're reading psychology or sociology, and you're reading all of the various theories that have to do with how people interrelate with one another, or how even they interrelate with themselves, right? We have to look at that from this standpoint. How can I take this knowledge to set my environment up in such a way so that I can take advantage of my environment? This is what the subject of science is all about. It's about understanding the universe that we live in. I want to tell you, I was in my grad studies. I just want to say this real quick. We were studying theory. Theory is an explanation about how things work, right? A controlling B, cause and effect. You've heard it in different terms. But they were giving all of the different characteristics of theory. And I noticed that at the bottom it had this word control. It had bullets. It had theory is descriptive. It's very descriptive. It allows us to predict. And one of the bullets that was sort of disassociated from the others, it had control. And I don't know if it was a typo or whatever, but that word control. And that's what I see science being used as today. It is a defense mechanism for those that are empowered to keep those that are not empowered disempowered. And so I see science, even science itself, being used against us to disempower us. So what we have to do is that when we go into these classrooms, we have to have a different attitude about even sitting in the classroom, because most of us, we don't even want to engage with the material. It's too hard. I asked a group of black kids. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's why
He said I can talk.
That's why you have your mouth.
He said I can talk.
We got good stuff, but we want to now go to any questions and let's mix it up. So who's got the first question? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I just want to know what you guys think. How do you guys think the mainstream affects the value system in this country? I was watching a show with my daughter, Love and Hip Hop. She wanted me to watch that with her and tell her what I thought about it. So after it went off, I told her, I said, what it seems like to me is I see some attractive black people acting out in a white value system way. The same thing with hip hop music. You know, it portrays itself as being real and hard, but what I see is a real lack of what I know growing up as a black value system. So how do you guys see that, and what can we do about it?
I'm glad you asked that. Brother Shackford on that too. Turn your TV off. Because the media, I feel, is our worst enemy. The news,
That's right.
I call it bad news. I do not turn my TV on. If my children, they turn the TV on and the news is on, I ask them, why is that on? Because I've been in Dayton 21 years, but the first week I was here, I'm like, oh my God, only black people commit crimes in Dayton? That's what I actually thought. I actually thought only black people lived here. Because I was first here, didn't know the neighborhood, didn't travel out, but the media is our worst enemy. And I believe that the powers that be use anything they can to distort our images. Distort our images.
Sister Lynn, I wanted to, and not to disrupt you, but how do we connect that? How are these images that we're seeing on television, how do they deter us, or how do they program us away from supporting ourselves?
Well, it deters us into self-hate.
Right.
We actually believe we're the biggest criminals of the world, and we know that's not true. I don't see black people going and bombing foreign lands. I've never heard of that. Like you said, the love and hip hop and this Atlanta Housewives, people call it entertainment, but what they don't realize is it's a programming. Right. It's a tape, and you're constantly playing that tape, whatever you're hearing, whatever you're seeing. People fall asleep with their TVs on. They let their kids watch this garbage, and they call it entertainment. It is not entertainment.
Would any of the other panelists like to chime in on that?
Well, I just have to say this. I got cable because I got tired of paying for 8-minute programming and 5 minutes of advertising.
Exactly.
So they program you in the 8 minutes, and they advertise you in the 5 minutes of what to do after they program.
Right.
So, no, that Malcolm Muhammad warned us that one day we will allow Satan to come in and sit in our living room. And that, my friend, is the TV. And this is one of the reasons why they killed Gaddafi. Because Gaddafi had just bought a satellite from China to put up so that Africans would have their own satellite. See, we got to have our own means of communicating with each other on a large scale, because without that, we like to be landlocked. You can't get out to the ocean, the ocean of knowledge, of information going out to the minds of the world, people. So that is a major form of control. We are controlled by words and images. We move based on words and images. He who controls the words and images to go into the people control the people.
Thank you, sir. And I think that, one of the things that we have to be even aware and cognizant of is that Million Man March, 1995, where the enemy before that had the minister on television 24/7 trying to say that this march was somehow degrading of women and so forth and so on. And then we had this overwhelming success from that point out. We don't like to say a blackout, but there was a whiteout of the minister in the media. They ain't said nothing good or bad. Anyone else?
Let me answer that, brother. One of the things that happened. 2001 was the biggest hoax magic put on the world when they faked the buildings falling down, blame it on terrorists when they blew the buildings up themselves and have everybody in the world looking at it. And we as Muslims are suffering from that lie of 911.
Yes, sir. Next question. Yes, sir.
I would, you know, I would like to know what we could do to directly affect change. You know, like how like when you're out in the street, go get your gas, to the supermarket. What can you do in your day-to-day movement to directly, you know, affect the change? Me myself, I try to give people employment. I try to, you know, rear other people's kids when I see them out in the street. You know, other things, but that ain't enough.
Yes,
Don't
it is.
seem like,
Yes, it is.
think so.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's like I want to do more.
Well, you can do more, but that's exactly what we do. I think for black folks in particular, we're looking for this nerve, and we get mistaken by it's going to be this one person who's going to ride in a white horse and save everybody. Everybody thought, oh, President Obama, he's going to make these changes in the black community. He's just one man. He's just one man that gave us some aspiration, some hope, as you said. But every person in this seat is a leader. I can't do what you can do. But you can do that. You said you can build children. You can hire black folks in your community. I can provide therapy. This person can cut somebody's grass. And for whatever reason, we don't feel that those little things count. We're looking for this huge, massive explosion of black people helping each other. In reality, it's like gaining weight. I didn't eat a cake last night and gained 50 pounds. It came on slowly and calculated. So it needs to be calculated. And again, there's some type of healing that needs to take place. It needs to take place in your house.
Because I have a problem with people reacting to the Donald Sterling situation the way they did. The first initial reaction, you mad because somebody called you a nigga. That is, that is so surface.
Thank you, sir.
It's so much to that.
Thank you, sir.
That makes up for Donald Sterling and how he controls our lives.
And let me add to that, please. That's another thing that we have in common is that we are reactors.
Okay.
Instead of being proactive, this is what I am going to do. I am not going to react to what Mr. Sterling said. He's just one white dude with some money. And every time somebody get on TV with some money and they want to holler nigga, we want to get all riled up. And like you said, it's nothing new. It has to start in our own homes.
That's right.
Gravitate out in the community. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to patronize? My doctor's black. My heating and air man is black. My children's doctors were black all their lives.
That's right.
Everybody that comes around me in my house is black.
That's right.
Because guess what? I love myself that much.
Go ahead.
This is Dr. Richard. I think what she said is very great. And I just add to that one more thing in terms of patronizing, is that before the people who are in this audience leave tonight, they should put themselves in a committee. Because the people who are there, that's the family that's got a plan for the rest of the people.
That's right.
If nothing else, set up a buying club where you learn how to buy collectively together, just that people in this group right here tonight. And then instead of a think tank, you can go and think tank, sit down and determine what y'all want to do for the future of your community. We miss out on opportunities of trying to, I call it, we like to argue with knuckleheads. And whenever enlightened people come together, we leave without finding out who each other are and do not set up meetings to continue the process. We need to do that tonight at your location.
Thank you, brother.
I want to add,
Brett, did you have something? I know. Brett.
I think first of all, brother, you have the right heart, and that's square one right there. And then the activity that has to follow up has to be a collective activity. Because right now we are the people, we don't have time to move slow right now. We are very far down the food chain when it comes to racism. throw that word around very lightly. Racism is not something that, I don't like her dark or whatever, or she's light skinned. That's not racist. That's what prejudices. Racism has to do with the hoarding of resources. One race is hoarding that resource in contrast to the other races.
Calculated.
Yes, that's what racism is, and it leaves one group, in the mud and puts the other one on top in a supreme position. And that's what we're dealing with. And so, there are steps we can take on the individual level. The large level, it has to be a collective solution in order to get Black people out of the ditch that we're in right now. It's not going to be enough just to start a little store here and a little store there. That's part of it. That's part of what you do. But then there has to be education, and it has to be a collective movement. We're putting our money into large pots and a large sum, then redistributing that wealth in order to change our conditions. Otherwise, it's going to be too slow. We don't have another generation right now to waste and the slow movement. So cooperative economics, that's a group of people working together for a common cause. Economically, we have the same goal right now. In 2014, at the stand, Black Men's Think Tank, Dayton Cultural Collectives, there's many groups right now. The NOI, the Bahamas group, $1.35 a month. Those are the answers to what we have to get moving with economically. That's right. Who in this room, and get a chance to explain Black Wall Street a little bit later on, but it's $9.99 a month. Bahamas Blueprint, $1.35 a month. Who in this room doesn't have $11.35 every month for the liberation of Black people? Right. For the schools that we need, for the hospitals that we need. That's putting our money and business into action. So every day when you're thinking about what you do, 30 days in a month, and I come up with 30 cents a day or something, put toward this cause. Of course you can. Right. Yes, sir.
In response to this brother, you asked that question, the simplest thing is to love.
Yes.
All of these groups very common and set the greatest example of that. For those who despise it, say against him, for those who in the Black community who are successful, and turn their back on him, but at night, in the cover of darkness, sneak through the back door, continue to love, brother. That's all you have to do. With love, you elevate. I mean, you have a man that
Brother
is.
Brett, I'm sorry, but we do want to. Yes, sir. So yeah, a question. Okay, all right. Well, yes, sir. Go ahead.
I wanted to add some solutions. I want to make sure that we get to the point. I think that's why we're here to answer my brother's point. I assume that you're a business person. One of the things you can do, you talked about family. It's very important that we start to create wealth and not only disposable income. That's a trick played by Black advertisers. Believe me, they want that white folks' money. Okay, you're not going to hear any other racial group talk about their spending power. You won't find it on the internet. If you search for that, you won't see it. So building wealth is very important for us because over a period of time, it has exponential growth. Not linear growth, it has exponential growth. And sooner or later, that money that you have invested will provide for you where you will not have to work, right? And then besides that, we want to transfer that wealth from generation to generation. Many of us may not even have life insurance for our children. We don't believe in that. I've heard many of the older folks talk about, I'm just going to leave just enough money for these folks, for my kids to bury me. That's pathetic, right? That is one of the primary ways in which wealth is transferred is through life insurance. So it is very important to have that. So if you have that attitude where I just want to have enough just so they can bury me, and you know that you can afford to have more, and that's detrimental to our wealth building, the wealth that we could have, and be able to build our foundations up, our HBCUs up. That's how industry operates, through other people's money. Okay? So wealth is very important. But our values so that's a value, right? Okay, I value wealth over income. Okay, as an example, over disposable income. It is also important, I've noticed that with Black business folks, is that we have a construct that says we want self-employment versus true entrepreneurship. Those are two different values, right? Self-employment means I only employ myself, right?
there are only 100,000 companies. This is 2007 numbers. 100,000 African American firms employed about 750,000 people. Well, guess how many businesses there were, black businesses there were in 2007? 1.9 million. Only 100,000 employed folks. See where I'm going with this? And so we don't employ folks. We don't even have a mindset to employ folks, and we don't want to be leaders from that standpoint. We don't want to manage those people from a human resource standpoint. That is why when you hear the drivers of the economy, small business, what do you think they're talking about? They're talking about putting people to work. That's when you go to the census, they give you numbers like per capita income. They give you household income. These are the numbers that they're giving you. So they're giving you those numbers as a measurement to determine how well the overall economy is doing, not how well some particular individual is doing. So that's a problem for us. Another problem we're always crying about is lack of access to capital. And of course, the system isn't set up for us. Of course, the banks aren't going to give us as much money as that they would give their own. But there are some other venues that we can go to get money, right? How many black-owned companies do you know that are publicly traded? And most of the Fortune 500 companies that you know of, they're what? They're publicly traded companies. We don't have a value for going out people's money in order to build up corporations. I'm not talking about these micro enterprises that we're setting up. Let me tell you another con game that's going on. The government has set up these programs for small disadvantaged businesses, right? Small business. They even put a definition on what a small business is. You know that we don't meet the definition of a small business. Many of our companies, we are micro enterprises. So you can go get certified through the city, through the state, through the feds. You're wasting your time. You'll never get a government contract because you don't understand how the game is played. We don't understand how the game is played, right? We have to change our values. If we change our values, then our behaviors will change.
What do you mean when you say values? Let me ask this question because you got a good point there. And when we say values, one of the articles that we find in the final call is the minister talking about we have become a consumer nation. We're consumers, no longer producers. Also, we have a mindset of individualism. We even preach it in the church of prosperity preaching, which is an individualistic mindset. So what do we do, or can you all talk on that? Dr. Ridgely, what?
Well, we in the Ministry of Agriculture, we're pooling our resources and buying collectively. You're ready to do staple goods number 7. It is a change in the mindset from being a consumer to being a producer and a server. Life is about production and serving if you are in fact a God. But if you are a nigger, it's just about what you can get and run. Now they put us in that condition. You must understand. They put us in that condition because it is even hard down here in South Georgia for a black man to get a bank account. Now you're talking about saving, they won't even keep a bank account. Now let's try to set up a business here. They won't need a bank account. Yeah, how do you get a bank account? So I go back to Dale Smith. We got to understand that every avenue, people watch this. All of this was Farrakhan said. They got somebody watching the stone over the crypt of Jesus. And every time that stone gets moved, the Jews gonna run and tell the white boy, get your Klan garment on, put the niggas back in line. Okay? So we have got to collectively work together to be disciplined in it, set up a plan and stick to that plan long enough for the plan to come to fruition and not get caught up in a 30-minute solution like we do on TV. In terms of training, on TV, you train the small problems are solved in 30 minutes. Big problems are solved in an hour. And you go to the movies and see an epic problem solved in 3 hours. Life don't work that way. So when we sit down and plan and try to fulfill something, we get bored because we don't understand the process of which are being successful.
Right. and he brings up a good point, and I think that's something that you talked about, Brother Marlon, is that what we're talking about is effort of economic development, and even you, Brother Brett, stating that 5 cents a day, 35 cents a week. This is small incremental steps, but they say the journey begins with the first step, as you were saying, Sister Lynn. Dr. Claude Anderson said that the reason that the Black community is poor is because we don't own businesses, something that you were talking about, Brother Marlon. Then he stated that no other people tell their children to get a job instead of opening a business. He looked at the Asian community, and he found that Asians have 1 out of 10 businesses, that whites are 1 out of 34, that Hispanics are 1 in 54, and blacks are 1 in 100. And this is one of the reasons why we're suffering the way we do. Brother Brett, can you comment on that?
Certainly. I'm glad you mentioned Dr. Anderson. One of the things that Dr. Anderson spoke on, he did a study on Chinese or Asian restaurants. We know that Chinese or Asian restaurants are very strong in our community. But he wanted to know what was the supply system of Chinese or Asian restaurants. And I was talking about recycling the dollar, bouncing that dollar back over the community. The Asian restaurants he found in New York City had fortune cookie factories that supplied fortune cookies to the Asian restaurants. You found that there were some that had plasticware and shipping and packaging ware ran by Asians that supply the restaurants. They had rice factories over there, and they were getting the rice low as well. Everything that they needed to supply that culture for the Chinese restaurant industry, they went many levels deep and supplying that demand for that restaurant. And this is what black people have to do. We have to go after an industry that we dominate. You see what I'm saying? We have to go where we are strong and where our strength is. And I believe that industry is the black hair care and beauty supply industry. Because the black hair care and beauty supply industry is common to all of us. There's a barbershop on just about every corner in the black community. It's either you have churches or you have barbershops and salons in the black community. But the barbershop and the salon industry is the largest black professional class of entrepreneurs in black America. And we have to begin to take the barber and beauty supply industry a little bit more seriously than what we're taking it. It's a great means of communication, first of all. And we have a huge amount of business real estate already on lock across the country. There may be hundreds and hundreds of barbershops and salons in Ohio alone across the country. We may have tens of thousands of black-owned barbershops and salons. $11 billion industry, black beauty hair supply industry, over $11 billion. And nationwide, black women account for 33% of all beauty supply sales, period, yet only 14% of the population. So we're spending a lot of money on our skin, our hair, and our beauty. That's our culture. But right now, the Koreans dominating our hair care market, selling us our hair for our style. They own over 90% of the industry. So what we're moving toward Black Wall Street with another organization called BOPSA, which is the Black-Owned Beauty Supply Association, ran by a gentleman named Sam Ennett. They have over 5,000 members in BOPSA. And we're coming out with a product or invention on the Black Box. What the Black Box is a vending machine with black hair care beauty supply products in it that will be able to sit in the barbershop. So go ahead and get your fade done. It has your do-rag in there, your combs, your brushes, your magic shave in there, your wave stuff. All that is sitting there while you're waiting to get that done. It's backed by black manufacturers. BOPSA, Sam's been in the industry for 30 years. He knows everybody. He was on Chris Rock movie, Good Hair. He was brother just with Al Sharpton came on. So he knows the industry well. And we have many black manufacturers in America. That's an industry where we are strong right now. And we can take advantage of that. It's art. Whenever you have a renaissance history, when you move people, art is involved. So the hair and beauty supply industry is artistic. It's art. It's a way that we can bring in another Harlem Renaissance type era through photography, through the art that's produced. You got different jobs, money, there's magazines involved, there's products, there's transportation, there's a lot of things. So that's an area where we dominate when we speak the same language, regardless if you're a black baker, a black preacher, a black teacher, whether you drive trucks or whatever, we all understand the language.
Now, this next question, and of course, I don't want anyone to get insulted, but of course, we know that as a people, we congregate in every week in an institution that we primarily control, which is the black church. My question is that how can the black church begin to promote cooperative economics? Brother Marlon, if you want.
I really want to hear this.
You want to hear this? We want the church to stay in their lane. We want the church to stay in their lane. We want them to preach the gospel if that's what they do. Have them stay in their lane. The last thing you want is black churches trying to run businesses, if that's what you're saying.
No, not run business, promote.
Oh, okay.
Why? Because I say this, we congregate, once again, we congregate in the thousands and millions every Sunday. Every Sunday. We have lawyers that go to churches.
That's right.
We have doctors that go to churches. We have black professionals that go to church. How can the church galvanize all black bodies, black professionals, not run a business, but how about say that this is a flock or person in the church that has a business? How about putting together I don't know, you know.
Here's their job. Here's their job. Values, right? We get all of the stuff that we're talking about. Let me tell you what's going to happen. We can institute all of this. It's all going to fail, right? Because we don't have the correct value. We're going to get that money, and we're going to screw it up. We're going to make other people rich. Basically what we're going to do. The church can play an instrumental part in making sure that we have values that empower us. And you asked me what a value was. A value, for at least for me, is a goal. Is your goal wealth, or is your goal to have disposable income so that you can go out and buy you a Cadillac? You understand what I'm saying? Is your goal in going in business to have employment for yourself or to help employ other people? Right? That's what's going to help grow your business, is that employing other people, because those people are going to have money now, right, to go into the economy and to help prosper your business.
You know, let me get Dr. Risley. You want to chime in, Doctor?
Well, you know, I just want to get a little bit of history on this. For the black preachers to do that, it would be very revolutionary, and their life would be in danger. And they would actually have to have FOI escort wherever they went. Because just a little bit of history. In 1906, they had a riot in Atlanta. It really was not a riot. What happened was the whites decided to put the blacks back in place. And they killed a bunch of people, hung them up on street lamps, and then they had a meeting, the leadership. And the white leadership told the black preachers, you stay out of business and politics. You just teach the people about going to heaven after they die, and we will let you live. Y'all get into business, talk about business and politics again, we come in and get you again. All right, that was 1906. That's why Du Bois had a nervous breakdown because of what happened there in Atlanta. No, see, it happened in Atlanta. It also happened in Augusta, Georgia, in the same night. All right, so white people have terrorized us to that point, and black preachers know how to keep their job and their life. That is, stay out of economics, stay out of politics. Yes, they could do a great deal of the people in the churches now are demanding more towards economic development. I even heard the big preacher down in Dallas, Texas, what's his name? T.D. Jakes, starting to talk about economic development. We need to go back to where we used to have, where we had things in the black community. So, you know, maybe things will turn around, but it is, they know what to do and what not to do. Like I said, it's like a trained animal. So you get online, somebody wind up dead, or somebody be missing in the family. I'm going to say this one other thing. Well, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, were working to buy NBC, okay? And people's family members started getting busy. All right? So we got to understand those Negro leaders, preachers and other Negro leaders, know how to keep their life. For instance, we found out that Martin Luther King in his last few weeks was talking about black farmers and they getting our land back and all that. And then he was killed. And those black people around him never talked about that. We just found out a year ago that Martin Luther King had grown to that position. But the Negroes knew he talked like that. He went out like Martin Luther King.
Yes, sir.
Dead.
And Brother Ross?
I want to say this. Out of the 10 richest ministers on earth right now, 7 of them are black, 5 are Nigerian. T.D. Jakes is the richest pastor in the whole world. Creflo Dollar, he did not. I just want to make that, make that known. 5 of them are richest ministers.
Yes, sir.
Richest person that has ever been in history has been a black man. Not Jesus. Yes, sir. So, it's like brother was saying, we do have to have value. It depends on what we really want to give ourselves.
Thank you, Brother Ron. That's good. Real. Yes, sir. Then what we want to do, I want you all to begin to formulate in your minds solutions as we begin to wrap this up.
Real quick, we talk about the black community, but let's just look at here in Dayton. What is the black community? When I was growing up, the black community was the West Side. Okay, now you got blacks in Trotwood, Kettering, Centerville, and we always talk about supporting black this and black that, but even the churches is moving out to the suburbs. We moving out to Clayton and Centerville. We putting our kids in those schools. We're paying property tax out there in those neighborhoods. We're more inclined to shop in those neighborhoods. So what is the black community? A lot of us right here in this room don't even live in the black. You know what I'm saying? So what is the black community? And when the crack and the heroin hit our community, a lot of black people ran for cover. You know what I'm saying? I live in the hood, and I'm committed to staying in the hood. And how can we, convince our people to stay where we at and fight? Because that's the problem right there. I mean, we spread out all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
So let's with ladies first, and Sister Lynn, and we'll go down the line, and Dr. Ridgely will end with you with some solutions. And then we'll bring on the student coordinator of the Honorable Louis, Brother Tyrone Muhammad. Sister Lynn, go ahead.
I think what you said is key, because the constant ingrained slave mentality of separation is basically it. We have to be willing to patronize within our own culture. I've been here 21 years, and I've heard black folks say, well, I don't go to the Dayton Black Culture Festival. Like, why not? We have to be willing to be a part of us.
That's right.
We have to be willing to love ourselves. Like this gentleman said, it starts with loving you, finding what's beautiful about you, finding what you can do for you. My segue to what Black Empowerment Collectives, the Nation of Islam, and Black Wall Street are doing. In September, we're going to have a Dayton Cultural Collective, which is a vending market of black businesses, which is free to the vendor. I'm talking free to the vendor, and what we're asking you to do is provide a donation. We're not telling you what. We're asking you to provide a service. We're not telling you what. We're asking you to provide time. We're not telling you where. We're asking you to give away a product. We're not asking you what. I think that's the problem. We're constantly telling people what to do. If I'm telling you what to do, I may be a little resistant to that. I might know how to do that, and I might not have the courage to tell you, so I'll just avoid you. I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. So we're asking I'm asking. Damn it, I'm asking. I'm asking you to give of yourself, whatever that self is. Every person in this room, I don't care how old you are, you have something to offer your community.
That's right.
You do. So all you got to do is take 5 minutes. What can I offer? I can cut my neighbor's grass. She is too old to cut her grass, and she can't afford to hire somebody, so I'm going to cut her grass for her. That's community. Those little things count. We want to have this huge explosion, and we're talking about what doesn't work. We know what does work if we're paying attention. And I'm going to wrap it up. Again, I'm a therapist, but I read the Willie Lynch letter, and it stirred up some stuff. It stirred up some stuff so bad that I said, oh my God, we're suffering, and I'm going to do my part. My grandchildren not to know about this, only to read about it. So in addition to my therapy practice, I said, how can I build community? One little thing. I started creating these things, what I call are black boards. As you can see, the board ain't black, it's white, but every business on here is black. 17 of them. My goal was 20, but I got about 5 more in my truck. I distributed 17 of these boards throughout Dayton, and Brother Brett is correct. It's like 4 barbershops and beauty shops on this one board. I went into businesses, I said, give me your business cards, because I want to distribute and let people know where you are. Show the lady one my board. I don't know who these people are. I don't know where they are. She's black. She lives in my neighborhood. So this right here is an example. The board cost me $1. I can afford $1 with some free business cards on it. It didn't require much. So I'm asking you to do your little part. It doesn't take a whole lot of stuff. It takes each person doing that one little thing, providing that one little service, giving that $1. All of these things work. They all work. So don't be disillusioned and believe in, well, we only got to do this over here. We can tap into all of these resources that are us. And it contributes to the community, to our children. So don't be disillusioned by something that won't work. I don't even want to hear about it.
Right. Thank you, sister.
Thank you.
Again, I'm always going to start with our value system, our goals, because our goals will dictate our attitudes and our behaviors. That's very important. You can have all of the programs in the world that we can think of, that is, we can look all throughout history, and we're back at zero. So whatever we've done in the past has been undone, right? And it's cyclical in nature. We haven't learned from the past, evidently. So our values are very important to us. So some practical things that we can do, I've already mentioned a few. Wealth versus consumerism. I'm really leaving that as an exercise. Go home, pull your laptops out, what have you, look up white spending power. And if you find it, send me an email. Okay? Because I doubt if you find Asian spending power. Okay? It is very important that we begin to create wealth. So we have to look at the equity markets to do that. We can even look in terms of business as well. Okay? Partnerships versus going it alone. This self-employment is egregious. It's nothing more than individualism on steroids.
Right.
It's narcissism, okay? When I think us doing for self, I'm looking at narcissistic, non-traditional, non-African behavior is what I'm looking at. Okay, so we need to develop partnerships, joint ventures. We need to be willing to go into partnership with others that are like-minded, people that are going to bring something to the table. We don't want to just go into business with anybody because you're going to have a failure doing that. So look at what strengths it. And this is an example right here. This man right here is doing great things.
That's right.
what he didn't tell you is that he's associated with people all over this country. And I've had an opportunity to listen in on the calls, and these are some of our best and brightest. And that's what I wanted to say in terms of the partnership. We do not need to go it alone. The self-employment thing has gotten out of hand. We need to be true entrepreneurs, which means that by definition, we must be risk takers.
Right.
If all you do is develop a business card and say you're in business and you haven't put any money into it, then you're fooling yourself, right? You got to put something up, right? It is very important that we have a value set that we not want something for nothing, right?
That's right.
You got to give up something, right? And here's another problem we've had with trust. The reason we have a trust among each other is because we do not value things that are written. We value things that are spoken, or we give a handshake. And we haven't looked at any of the particulars, right? How are we going to share this money? Right? How are we going to share this loss? Who's going to be in trouble? What are their responsibilities going to be? What's going to happen if you default? Those are called contracts, right? You got to be very detailed with that type of stuff. And then here's another problem that we're consistently up against. And this is a Madison Avenue strategy where big corporations will buy out the competition, right? Not only business-wise, but they will buy out our best and our brightest. Who is best able to lift us out of this quagmire that we're in? That's going to be our best and our brightest. When you look at what India is doing, when you look at what Asia is doing, it's not that peasant in the field that's turning those countries around. It is some cats coming out of those universities, right? Those colleges and universities. And what you have is that you have our youth, when they graduate from the Wilberforces and the Central States and the Morehouses and all of that, they want to go work for Procter & Gamble. They want to work for the Fortune 5. You don't hear them say, I want to work for BET and all this other kind of stuff. You don't hear that, right? That's a Madison Avenue strategy. It is very deliberate. They want to buy out our best and our brightest. So when we look behind us, we see this vacuum, right? All of our talent is gone. And we know what happens in a vacuum. You get deteriorated neighborhoods. You get criminality. You get teenage pregnancies.
That's right.
You get mental health issues.
That's right.
Because our best and our brightest are no longer there to deal with those issues like they were back in time when they forced us to be segregated, right?
That's right. Give us a solution.
I'm a firm believer in evolution, and I believe that Black people have evolved. Look at our sojourn in America, different time periods we come through. We come out of that area after the Civil War where, as I said, we were the laborers. We knew the carpentry skills, we knew the masonry skills, we knew all that stuff. It was not custom for the Caucasian to do that type of labor work. So we were that skilled labor. And that is why immigration became big in this country. We started bringing all this immigrants in from Europe because we had those skills. And so we had the dominant workforce. So we had to bring in another class that could compete with us. And so that is what sparked immigration in this country. So we had that time period in our history. We had many movements in Black America, of course, Marcus Garvey and our spiritual financial movement, of course, Revitalizing, spiritual, financial, and militant movement in the civil rights era, in which integration kind of came to Black people. And now here we are today in 2014. What is our strategy by which we're approaching Black liberation? It has to be one economic. As I mentioned earlier, there were three sciences that we were not taught: business, and warfare. So we have to start holding our leadership accountable and start talking about business. That's what our people. We have to have an evolution of the mind. You're going to continue underneath leadership of the Black community that is not evolving us as people, that is not moving us toward economic might. And why are you staying there? We need to kind of get somewhere and move in avenues that's going to be productive, that's going to multiply, because that type of thing is withering on. We don't have time right now to be waiting around doing a small thing. It has to be a shift in consciousness. We're talking about those brilliant minds of Black people. Also, I want to put it in the conscious community. Some call them the 5%, the poor righteous teachers, the gods. We're out here, but why are we not uniting? Why are we all in our own little bitty areas all trying to fight the liberation struggle? We all need to be together at the same time. So if you just kind of want to be in your corner and do your thing, then you're not helping. We need to hold that accountable, brother. Let's get together. And that's the mentality we take, and we have to move with cooperative economics. It's out there. It's already here. The economic blueprint, you can go all on the website and your $1.35 a month, we can move, we can get land. Black Wall Street is already in the process. He already launched his first round of funding businesses and ventures to the Black Heritage. But there's all kinds of other Black organizations out there and businesses that are the same. So what we have to do is get the leadership involved and get to talking and stop talking about everything else all the time that's going on and respond, like Sis said, we're reactionary, you know. So now we're so busy talking about this NBA cat, well, why aren't we talking about business?
That's right.
We got totally distracted by that. That's right. We're reactionary. And then once we start thinking a little bit, it's like they hit us with some other media tragedy. It's like, look, we're distracted again. Now we're not talking about the real issues. And we got to stay focused on what's going on. Put that stuff to the side. Take care of business first. Then get to this place.
Thanks for that. Dr. Bishop here, please share with us some solutions.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and
thank you.
Coming behind these other people thinkers, I almost have nothing to say except that what they said was great. But I would like to add a few things. And a part of the Muhammad Economic Blueprint, number 5, it says, observe the operation of the white man. He is successful. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works hard in a collective manner. You do the same. Now, what is a corporation? A corporation is a collective. White folks fight in a collective manner. They do business in a collective manner, where the brother said, well, here by ourselves, sole proprietorship, trying to fight against a corporation. So we must learn how to work collectively together. The other thing in terms of control, I have a mantra I say to the Minister of Agriculture. Either you control the community that you live in, or you move to a community that you can't control. But you must live in a community that is under your control. To live otherwise, you're just making yourself a victim. Now, the dispersal of our communities was done on purpose. It was very scientific over the last 40 or 50 years. Yet the drugs were brought in. I saw them destroy an old black community in Greensboro, North Carolina. It was purposeful. They moved our best out. As a matter of fact, in 1962, there was a plan for the Committee for Economic Development to give scholarships to farm children in areas outside of agriculture so they would not come back to the farm. So they did the same thing in the black community, giving us types of education that we cannot use in our own community. Many of us now are at retirement age. Here's a specific thing that I want to bring forward. Many of us are retiring. We still have good health. We have some wealth. We have some residual income coming in. Well, many of us, because of this dispersal, we have found ourselves in an area gated behind white folks, gated in gated communities there with white folks. Why don't we decide on some communities, some areas? Let's talk about it. We're going to come together. We're going to have our own retirement communities, not the old as rocking a rocket chair, but to use what we learn, our talent, and what we learn in the white man's world. And then I use our income to develop some think tanks for businesses, and then train some young people to develop those businesses. But you got to do it together. You can't do it physically apart. So I'm putting forward just to think how, what alphabet, if you are a Q, if you are an alpha, if you are a Muslim, I mean, whatever thing that turns you on in terms of what you're connected to, then y'all get together and decide to get some space. You know, maybe the alphas want to have a space, have a town they want to set up. Maybe the Qs want to have a town they want to set up. Maybe the Baptists have a town. In other words, we got to come together on whatever auspices and bring ourselves together, because they blew us up on purpose, and we're going to do more history on that as to what they did to us. They knew what they was doing because they've done it before, but now we're going to have to. There are 579,000 black folks who have moved back to the South from 2000 to 2010. We're moving back home. Let's move back home in a collective manner, in a very skilled manner, and not a dispersed manner, to be able to utilize our talents and resources towards each other.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. And that, I got just a simple solution, and adding to what you all saying, what you were saying, Sister Lynn, about Willie Lynch. He used envy, distrust, and fear to keep us apart. Envy, distrust, and fear. So we need to drop that. And my other simple solution is we need to get books in our homes.
That's right.
And read about economic solutions. What
Sure.
our brothers are talking about, you know, that's one part. But if we begin to understand the dynamics of economics and how this whole thing is social political to keep us down, then we'll be in a much better place. With that, I want to bring back before us our beautiful brother, student coordinator, Brother Tyrone Muhammad. Please give us a round of applause.
Let's give our panelists another round of applause. All praise belongs to Allah. All praise belongs to Allah. Thank you. You give yourselves the applause. All praise belongs to Allah. Again, thank you for coming. We're going to ask that you all be patient with us because I have a plethora of announcements. So with that being said, I'm going to start from the top and just work my way down and try not to talk too fast. Racial Justice Now. How many of us have heard of that great organization? All right, they are doing some absolute incredible things in our community with our Black youth in particular regarding the school to prison pipeline. Sister Randall and Sister Maria wanted to be here this evening. However, they are down at the school board, bringing some heat on the school board to see to it that they treat our babies with justice. Sister Randall and Sister Maria wanted us to ask if you all are in support of Racial Justice Now, the school to prison pipeline, that you print your name, your signature, your zip code, and an email. They want to connect with you. Sister Randall is also looking for some testimonies where you have had somebody in your family that was just put out of the school. What's happening is that when you look at other communities, there is like a the way you deal with like a Miley Cyrus, okay, the way you deal with Lindsay Lohan, all right, the way you deal with Justin Bieber. These communities give their youth an opportunity to what? Right. Express themselves and get it right, figure it out. But in our community, no, you can be, 8, 9 years old, and then you do something, you lock them up, put them out.
Sixth grade.
Sixth grade.
Excuse me, kindergarten.
Is that fair?
No.
That's not fair. That's not right. Our minister teaches us that an organized lie is more effective than disorganized truth. So we are here tonight with our great panelists to continue and begin to organize our community so we can make some impact and some change. All right, so this sheet, how many of us are in support of that? Yeah, how many of us got little children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews? And how would we like it if your child did something and then the first response is put them out? That's not right, is it? No, it's not right. So if you are in support of that effort, this sign-in sheet is going to be on the back. Please write legible so Racial Justice Now can contact you. We talked about Beyonce and Jay-Z, is that right? Well, we have our own Beyonce and Jay-Z Muhammad in the Nation of Islam. We have Brother Gregory and Sister Darnell, our husband and wife, who, I said it, who have 2 businesses that we would like to, and we're so proud of them. One of their great businesses is child care. Now, you all know we all need somebody to watch our babies.
Right.
Is that right? However, don't you want somebody that you can trust?
Yes.
Don't you want somebody that cares about your baby?
That's right.
Well, this beautiful brother and beautiful sister have a university home child care and learning center. And we encourage you to take a flyer. In fact, can we pass out the flyers now?
Please
I'm going to get my sons busy. 10 hut. I got 3 of them here with me tonight. Come on, hot tall soldiers. All right, we going to get them busy circulating these flyers here. It's all Dad. We can't get them learn and listen. Ain't going to do no worse. But with that being said, they're going to give you all some flyers. And if you don't necessarily have a need for this, then pass it on to someone who may have a need. Is that all right? Also, you all know that there's another business in the black community that we have, and that's called we are becoming bootleg judges.
Oh yeah, I want to do that.
See, it lets us know what's innate in us, because see, every black person, you know, got a particular take on a thing. You know, we be sizing it up, huh? You know. So man, Leroy and Shanae, they be in the alley, boy, talking about, you know, the way what's happening downtown and what judge and whatnot. But all that's good. Have a brother and sister Muhammad have a legal shield. They are part. And if you and I want some legitimate legal representation, which we definitely need it, then let's see our wonderful brother Greg. Can you raise your hand, please? We all know him. He should be mayor of the city, and his beautiful wife there in the back. All right, now we can see them afterward. But let's also pass out the car, sons. Yeah, I gotta stand up. We got a lot of sitting time. Oh, man. We need cars now, brother Greg. All right, Miss Sister Lynn got them busy. Everybody all right? I promise you all I'm moving fast. Now, Sister Shepherd, are you in the building? All right, Sister Shepherd is in the building. You all see these flyers all over the city. We're talking about solutions. We're talking about keeping the money within our community. Is that right? We're talking about supporting each other. Is that right? We talk about the black youth and all they crazy, they out of control, blah, 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 blah. However, we have a program, a fashion show that is being done by black youth that you and I should be supporting. We're going to be passing these flyers around. Come on up, Sister Shepherd. We let her know we're going to give her a small commercial bite here. She looked like a preacher, so we know she got some go. Let's give it up to Sister Shepherd. Going on, my sister, announce your piece.
I'm with B100.com, which is Children on a Mission. 99.5 won't do. We need to be 100% spiritually driven, 100% humble, 100% educated, 100% productive. Tomorrow is uncertain, so today, our organization allows teens to channel their energy and talents for the greater good of mankind. A lot of our productions, we've staged major productions for teens that's been tragically killed in our community. These are some of the faces of the kids. It doesn't cost any experience for them to participate. We provide training, choreography, everything they need for the production to perform on the grand stage for the good of mankind. And most of the kids have never performed. They have low self-esteem. We build good citizenship, self-esteem. And we just invest in the lives of our youth because character begins in our children. So we're very passionate about that. And Julian was one of the teams at Jefferson, just moved to Dayton, Jefferson Township, got off the school bus and a drunk driver hit him, killed him. So, I mean, if anybody was at that production, we had over 54 children from all major school districts that participated in our production. Before we called L&M, which is Love Me Productions, but now we're called B100.com, Children on a Mission. And our kids are on a mission. We have a fashion Instagram. I have one of the models here, stand up. Aisha Shamar from Cybers.
Cybers is a business.
She is 15 years old, doing a lot of choreography on the production. The children are on a mission, doing amazing things. We want your support. We want to connect with you and partner with you for you to come out. Our tickets are only $10. That's how we pay for our expenses. So we do have tickets. We want you to buy a ticket, support our efforts in making a difference in the lives of our kids. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All praise belongs to Allah. As you heard Dr. Ridgely talk about the Nation of Islam, we have a buyers club. Now, we all know that everybody signed in, and we thank you all so much for your data. However, if you are interested in becoming a part of our buyers club, when we close out in prayer, there's going to be a separate sign-in sheet in the back that you can, and please, as best you can, write as legible as you can, your name, your number, your email address, and then we can be in contact with you on that buyers club and how it looks. We have 2 events that we are absolutely in support of, and we gave both organizations our word that we will announce these events. All of us know of the great work Reverend Jerome McCurry, is that right? And the Adam Project, they have their second annual fundraising banquet that is coming up. It's going to be, God willing, the 31st of May at 6 o'clock. They're bringing in a great thinker amongst our people, Dr. Boyce Watkins. The Adam Project is always there for us in our community, so we encourage you. And then that evening, go and listen to Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is free. However, this is a ticketed event. But again, we all, we got a little money. We talked about that buying power and what we bring in, so we got some money. All right, that's will be on the back. Let's please support both of those great organizations. Everybody all right? All right, let's, I'm just about finished, I promise. Let's be sure that we sign up and that we get with these great organizations, these great people. Brother Marlon is always educating me and us that we don't want these meetings to just be feel-good moments. We are absolutely igniting a revolution. Yeah. So at the end of the day, when we close out in prayer, please, talk to these great panelists. They're here for you to, you can talk to them, get their information, email them, go to their Facebook pages or whatever, and then spread the word. Right. There's hundreds and thousands listening to this, or they were listening. However, we want to spread the word about these great organizations and these great people. Muhammad's Economic Blueprint, you all heard Dr. Ridgely talking about it. This blueprint is absolutely incredible. As we talked about trust and distrust, this blueprint is transparent. Meaning, you and I have access to what's in it. Decisions are going to be made with, certain individuals in our community, but you're going to be, and I'm going to be in that decision process. So it is a blueprint that we absolutely encourage you all to go to the website tonight, get with these panelists tonight, and then let's not, no disrespect, let's not procrastinate. Let's go ahead and make it happen. Okay? We also our dignitaries that are here, definitely thanking again our panelists, Brother Brett, Brother Marlon, Sister Lynn. Let's give them another round of applause. Yeah. And Brother Steve. Let's give Brother Steve a round of applause. Real quick, I really have to go.
We hung up with, but I wanted to thank Sister Anna.
Oh, yeah!
She was part of our youth media program.
Beautiful.
She had a crash course tonight.
Beautiful. Praise belongs to Allah. And look how smart and intelligent she is.
Right.
And this is her first time working, and she's working it.
Yes, she is.
She really on it. Thank you, Sister Honesty. We also want to thank our great brother who's always here to support us, the president of our Dayton Black Panther Project Party, Brother Donald Dominique is in the building. All praise Allah. Reverend Lawrence has the lead. Sean Walton, our great brother, our great friend, is in the building. Always supporting us. We love you, Brother Sean. We love you, big. Brother Robert, our student coordinator from Springfield, Ohio, is in the building. Him and his beautiful family. Thank you all so much for coming. Brother Ross had the lead. Brother Bakari. Dayton's on L West. Yeah. He's in the building. All praise belongs to Allah. And our brother Javon Webster is in the building. Our youth mover and shaker. Man, thank you all. And thank you our constituent base. Give you another hand. Thank you all so much for coming. I got to give a shout out to those individuals that help us spread the word. Brother Marlon, thank you so much, my brother. He did what he did and has those relationships, muscle, to help spread the word. Thank you, Brother Marlon. We thank Sister Maria, the co-founder of Racial Justice Now, Tiffany Green. We thank our sister. Thank you again, Brother Robert, helping us spread the word via social media. And thank you all so much. Last, I have to promote the Nation Islam, our meetings. If you would like to learn more about the life-giving teachings of the Most High Muhammad, we here every Wednesday and Friday from 8 to 9:30. Just an incredible time. We believe that our people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge right here, right in this room. Every Wednesday and Friday, our meetings are very engaging. So please come on out and take part. We meet here every Sunday from 11 until around 1 or 1:30. Our meetings are like church and school, but it's amped up. Think about that.
Right.
That sounds interesting, don't it? Y'all should come on out. Okay, come on out and fellowship with us.
Right.
Support the final call.
Yes.
Y'all see who been Gettysburg? Sweating. You know, sweating. Don't suit your brothers, especially when we sweating. We got Ramadan coming up, y'all, and we work during Ramadan. Yeah. Support the brothers, because as we talk about violence that our panelists have given us this evening, the Final Call newspaper is not proselytizing. It's not proselytizing. We're not trying to change your belief system. But as Brother Steve talked about, unfortunately, and alluded to, not going to let us know the great work that's happening amongst our people.
That's right.
So not just in Dayton, but this is the only black international paper in the world.
Right.
You can go to parts of Africa, parts of Europe, and purchase the Final
Caribbeans, right?
Yeah, and also let's support Brother Don Black.
That's
Let's support our brother. How many of us have a subscription to the Dayton Week? Yeah, and if we don't, then let's get one. That's the only black newspaper that we have inside the city.
Absolutely.
Brother Steve, I saw a hand. Oh no, I was good, Brother Gregory. Yes, it is going up. Don't trip. Don't trip. Don't trip, because it's only $1. Only $1. It's gonna be $2. But you all know when Dayton Daily went up, what did we do? We bought it. When USA Today went up, what did we do? We bought it. So come on, y'all. Let's support the Final Call newspaper. It's gonna be $2, and it's ours. And it's ours. It's ours. All praise belongs to Allah. The only thing we need tonight is we talk about this black dot.
Do you still sell subscriptions on site?
Yes, we do. We also still sell subscriptions. It's also digital as well. Now, we got some brothers that are out all over Dayton watching you all as you all leave here to find out where you gonna go eat. Come on. We got a bunch of brothers on FOI on Miller Lane right now. They got it blocked off. Don't take your money to the other man. I also like to be in Jamaica right now. Well, we got a taste of it right now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, she said, whoa. All right now. We got some Jamaican cuisine, wing, dinner, Jamaican.
Come on.
Jerk or curried. And okay, if you say so. Side choices, rice and peas. Can we pass out the menus, sons, please? And doesn't it smell good?
Yes.
It does.
Pork now.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
And when you look on the menu, that is not a piece of ham. That's ice cream. It's only like ham a little bit when you look at it. Marlon said, that's what's up. No, but it's ice cream. Our great owner and president of Aleen's Technologies in the building, Brother Kevin. Let's give him a round of applause. All praise belongs to Allah. Please, everybody get a menu, please, and let's support our brother. He has everything from juices. I know your throat is dry. It's hot in here. He got some delicious ice cream. So anything that you and I can imagine, our brother has it for. The address, he's mobile. It's mobile at this particular time. And Brother Kevin, as we talked about black businesses, he is striving real hard to get the old building on Stevensville in there. Food for life.
Okay.
Brother Kevin, Brother Herman said he wanted to get a dinner from you every day. How did he get it? He's asking how to get a hold to you, sir. Just call. Just call. All right, now. None of the black men, we resourceful, boy. And at any time of night, you can call her, he'll be there. Okay? Literally. All right. Now, with that being said, I believe I got everything. I hope I did. Questions that were not answered, please, you can see again these great panelists afterward. And with all that being said, I don't want to test your patience any longer. I'm going to land the plane, and let's go ahead and close out as we started our meeting with prayer. If you can rise and assume a position that's most comfortable to yourself. Son, can you all put these on the table? Yes. Brother Steve talked about reading. Have any of you all read this book right here? Wouldn't you like to know what happened to us? Get this book. That's right. The secret relationship between blacks and Jews.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And also, this is another book, How White Folks Got So Rich. Don't be apprehensive to history.
That's right. That's right.
Because in the road of wisdom, it's taught that the past helps define the present.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to be able to know what happened to us so we can prevent it from happening again.
That's right.
Right? Get these books.
Yes, sir.
They will absolutely blow you away. Make them a part of your library. The secret relationship between blacks and Jews and how white folks got so rich. Let's close out in prayer. Please assume a position that's most comfortable to yourself and repeat to yourself in silence as I recite this closing prayer. Prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, Master of this day of judgment in which we now live. It is thee do I serve, and to thee alone I beseech for help. O Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path upon those whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon those upon whom we are down upon, nor those who go astray after hearing thy teaching. And thank you all so much for your time. Please meet and greet each other. Visit the table. We got some items on sale for the Nation of Islam Dayton Study Group Bookstore. Visit the table and also like us